Good morning and welcome to Daily Tanya. Today is Tuesday, the 26th day of Elul. Today we say the three additional chapters into Elul 76, 77, 78. Let's begin the shir with tzedakah. Gedela tzedakah, shemakareves esakula, tzedakah brings Mashiach closer. So, today we're going to finish the letter 17. But Alter Rebbe talks about the ultimate revelation that will be in the coming of Mashiach. And we say giving the tzedakah brings Mashiach closer. And Alter Rebbe explained that tzedakah is the mitzvah of Hashem. God's mitzvah is the mitzvah of tzedakah because everything what Hashem does is tzedakah, is giving us. However, we explained that there is what God gives in a way that is in a filtered, contracted way, memalekal almin. This is one form of tzedakah, and then there is the higher form of tzedakah, is when Hashem reveals himself completely, and that will be in the coming of Mashiach. And what triggers this godly revelation, this is our giving of tzedakah. So, in the higher worlds, it is impossible to receive the ultimate light of Hashem. And yet in this world, the coming of Mashiach, we say this ultimate light is going to be revealed. How? Because when it comes to the higher light, the ultimate, the level of godliness, which is the encompassing light, there is no differences between high and low. And the way Hashem reveals himself is a way that we completely nullify ourselves to Hashem. And we become nullified by doing Hashem's will. And this is something that is possible only in this world, when we exist as separate entities. God created us that way, and yet we nullify our existence. And that is true really in every mitzvah, but specifically in the mitzvah of tzedakah, where we act godly. Just like God is giving tzedakah, we give to those who don't have on their own. This is, says the Alter Rebbe, prepares the vessel, a very wide vessel. God's garment, he calls it, it says, Levushay tzedakah. God is wearing the garment, tzedakah is God's garment. And a place where Hashem can reveal himself in a wide, broad way. So let's see inside what the Alter Rebbe says. So the Alter Rebbe goes back to the verse in Tehillim that the Alter Rebbe quoted in the beginning of this letter. There's a verse in Tehillim, chapter 119, that says, L'chol tichla ra'isi kates, rechava mitzvascha me'oid. Which means, the literal understanding of this is that to every chol tichla, it says, to every conclusion, I have seen an end, but your mitzvah is very wide. And we asked, what does that mean, your mitzvah? We asked the question, why is it mitzvah in a singular form, not mitzvot, mitzvotecha, your mitzvos? That we answered right in the beginning, that the mitzvah of tzedakah is God's mitzvah, because that is what God is doing constantly, giving tzedakah. And now he explains what does it mean that this mitzvah is rechava, which means broad and wide. And also, what does it mean me'od? What does it mean very wide? So what he's going to explain is that this mitzvah of tzedakah is indeed that place where God's revelation, God can be revealed in a very wide way, very broad way, meaning without any limitations. So says the Alter Rebbe, this is the meaning of the verse, and your commandment is very wide. He mitzvah tzedakah. This refers to the precept of charity, giving tzedakah. Shehi kli v'shetach rochav me'od, which is a vessel of great volume. Lislabish ba ha'oras oyer ensoy baruch hu, in which the radiance from the infinite Ein Sof light may be invested. As it is written, his garment is tzedakah. So that is something that we do today. We don't even sense, we don't understand, we don't feel it. In the coming of Mashiach, we will see the effect of our mitzvahs in general, and specifically in the mitzvah of tzedakah. In the future, this light will radiate without limit or end. With a gratuitous divine kindness elicited by this arousal from below, by the kindness and tzedakah initiated by men, which is called the path of God. As we said yesterday, the path of God means just like a path connects two cities. This is the path that connects the higher godliness to us, to our world. Continues Alter Rebbe and says, this is why the verse says, Rechova mitzvascha me'oid, that your mitzvah is very broad, very wide. The idea of saying very means to say that is endless, that the endless light is revealed in that mitzvah. And this is the meaning of the term very wide, signifying limitless and endlessness. Tzedakah acts as an infinitely wide vessel for receiving an infinite degree of godliness. And going back to the first half of the verse, Alter Rebbe is going now to explain a deeper understanding. However, at the beginning of the verse, quoted above, it says, it is written that to every tichla, which means every conclusion, I've seen an end. So, tichla means conclusion. But Alter Rebbe goes to say also that tichla, the word tichla, has another meaning. Tichla also comes from the meaning of klois, which means klois and nefesh means an expiration of the soul. It means that a person, when the neshama senses godliness, intense godliness, there is only a certain limit how much a soul can contain. When the neshama receives a very powerful, intense godliness, the soul expires. Says the Alter Rebbe that in the world, in heaven, in Gan Eden, this is something that is constantly happening. Souls are constantly expiring, meaning the souls which receive a certain degree of godly revelation, the maximum that they can contain, and then the soul expires, and then it prepares it to go to the next level. And in the next level, there is again reaching up to the maximum, and once again expiring and going to the next level. That's what happens in Gan Eden. But this kind of expiration has limits. But the revelation of the ultimate encompassing light, there is no levels. Everything is beyond levels. So there it's going to be peaceful. And having one thing revealed, and that is through the mitzvah of tzedakah. That's what Alter Rebbe explains. Tichla imelashon kloisa nefesh shebegan Eden. The word tichla is related to the term kloisa nefesh, the intense yearning to the point of expiry of the soul in Gan Eden. Shehi b'pchinas keitz v'tachlis v'tzimtzum kanizke lahen. For it, meaning the divine light that is yearned for in Gan Eden, does have an end and a limit, and undergoes contraction, as mentioned above. This is the radiance of the finite light called Memale Kol Almin. This is the light that fills the world. But Ulchol Tichla, as to the term to every kind of Tichla, when the verse is alluding only to the yearning of souls in Gan Eden, why is there L'chol Tichla, every kind of Tichla? That's what we just explained, that there is different levels. Once the soul expires in one level, it goes to the next level. This is used because there are numerous levels of rungs of Gan Eden, one higher than the other, to the topmost of levels. As it is written in Likutei Hashas of Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, of blessed memory, in explaining of the teaching of our sages of blessed memory, that Torah scholars have no rest in the world, in this world, nor in the next world. The Talmidei Chacham have no rest. What does it mean? Because they constantly go up higher and higher in levels. Because they are constantly rising from level to level in their grasp of Torah, which has no end. But this will take place only until the resurrection of the dead. After the resurrection, they will finally have rest. Until after the resurrection, when they will have rest. Why? But that time will be a day which is entirely Shabbos and rest. At that time, there will be revealed a radiance from God's essence that utterly transcends levels. Elevation from level to level will thus be not only impossible, but also unnecessary. At that time, mortal souls will finally find repose as they delight in the radiance of God's essence. So in God's essence, there is no levels. That is the idea of rest. And as I mentioned, this is also the idea of the rest of Shabbat. We're all familiar that Shabbat is a day of rest. Simply understanding Shabbat is the day you can sleep. But when you learn Chassidus, you understand that day of rest is a whole different meaning. Chassidim, in fact, they would try not to sleep on Shabbat at all. They would use out the Shabbat to study Torah, study Chassidus, because the true idea of rest on Shabbat is rest from the materialism. All over the world will rise up to a higher level. And Shabbos, people are in the soul experience, a different experience. That's the idea of rest. Rest from the rush of this limited physical world, and a rest in being within our reach of the endless light of Hashem. Prayer, davening, studying Torah, having the Shabbos meals with the singing, the nigunim, all of this is the true rest. So let us hope that Hashem should give us Mashiach very soon, when we'll have the ultimate rest. And of course, through the mitzvah of tzedakah and all other mitzvahs, we should all have Haksiva v'chasima teva lashana teva u'mesuka.